welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. Today is Friday, April 26th, and it has been roughly 2 weeks since my last Flosstube update. Before we get into like the actual substance of the video, I wanted to say right up top that I kind of want to like formalize or like cement the format of my videos going forward, because I feel like some of my videos are kind of all over the place and I want to like kind of get it more structured because I'm the type of person who values a lot of structure in their life. And so I timestamp all my videos, but you'll probably start to see like a more consistent set of timestamps. So the format of my videos going forward are going to be as such. I'm going to start with my introduction, obviously, and then I really want to add right up top a segment for Stitchy shoutouts, because a lot of people have shouted me out and I've meant to shout out back, and I just don't write things down and I forget. And then by the end of filming a video, I'm like, oh crap, I need to shout people out, but I don't want to do it at the end of the video because that feels kind of like an afterthought. And so I'm going to start like taking notes and putting a shout out section right at the beginning. Then I will go into the stitching, starting with fully finished or finished objects if I have any. New starts come next. Then whips, because I don't know, in my brain, that's the order that makes sense to me. Then if I have any other crafting to share with you, I will have a segment for that. And like I said, again, these will all be timestamped. So if you don't care about other crafts, you can skip right over it. I'm a multi-crafter. I cross stitch, I knit, and I've very recently gotten into sewing very heavily, which you'll see in the haul section. But if you are not interested in that, don't worry about it, just skip right over it. After other crafts, I'll go into haul and stitchy kindness, and then I will finish with plans, and that is going to be the format of my videos. So I don't know why I felt like I had to tell you guys that, but it just felt important. So with that out of the way, let's just jump right into my shout out section. I have 3 Flosstubers I want to shout out. I think I'll probably do like 3 or so each time, just so that I can like have enough for each video. And the first Flosstuber I wanted to shout out is Cecilia, I believe the Vulcan Stitcher. And I'm not sure if it's just Cecilia on YouTube and then the Vulcan Stitcher on Instagram. I will have all of them linked down below so that you can go check them out. But Cecilia, I recently found out about. I think she only has 3 videos out right now. And I believe I heard about this channel from Uplift Stitches. I think they were talking about her pretty recently. And I heard the name The Vulcan Stitcher and immediately I was like, wait, yeah, I want to check that out because I am obsessed with Mr. Spock. So I was like, that sounds like the channel for me. I went over there and sure enough, she's got a lot of really like nerdy, cool cross-stitching stuff. She is, not only is she like into like D&D and that kind of stuff, but she runs campaigns. And I think that's really cool because even though I'm not personally like a big D&D, I don't play D&D, my fiance is really big into RPGs, and like for me, I don't have the focus to sit and like compound storytell with people. Like I get so distracted, but I always love hearing recaps of his games because he is also usually the GM for like every game that all his friends play in. So I really respect that she does that because it takes a lot of work to put those games together. And she was showing off a Star Trek cross stitch that I think she said she might start for her birthday, and I might get my hands on that pattern and start it as well because it looked really, really cool. She also has 2 cats that I'm obsessed with because their names are Cornbread and Pigeon, and I love a goofy cat name. So I immediately went and told my fiance, I was like, I'm watching this girl. Her cat's names are Cornbread and Pigeon. And he was like, those are perfect. Never change. So I really, really like her. Also, she has cool hair. She's got like an undercut, and I used to rock that. So made me kind of miss, I kind of wanted to like shave my head. And I was like, Hillary, you work in a really uptight office. That's not going to fly. So she's the first one I wanted to recommend to you guys. She's obviously newer, only with 3 Flosstubes, but I really like her and I want you all to go over there and leave some comments, leave some encouragement to keep her posting because I want more content from her. The second channel I want to talk about, because they shouted me out like 3 months ago and I missed it. And I'm sure most of you guys know this channel, but this is Cross Stitch the Globe, and I have been like obsessed with their channel. just this past week I started watching it and I was like, oh, oops, sorry. But they congratulated me back in like January for getting engaged. So thank you guys. Sorry I missed that. It's two sisters, and one sister, she designs patterns under the name Cross Stitch the Globe. I checked out her Etsy. They're really cool. They're these like small to medium, and I think maybe she's going to release some large ones, full coverage patterns, and they're photographs that she took while traveling abroad, and they look stunning. And their dynamic is really fun. They bounce off each other really well. I would hope so. They're sisters. But also, the thing I really, really like about their channel is they don't just do like your typical Flosstube. They also do something called Flosstube University, which is like kind of an extra where they talk about like the basics of cross stitch and teach you like a little bit more, which I think is really important because even if you're not new to the hobby, sometimes you didn't learn in the typical sense. Like me, I'm self-taught on cross stitch. When I turned 18 and I moved away to college, I needed something that wasn't knitting to do in my dorm because knitting, like yarn takes up so much space and I wanted something smaller. So I just learned off of Google how to cross stitch. And so it wasn't until even like I've been cross stitching for, I guess, 12, 13 years at this point. It was only last year that I started stitching on linen and even weaves. So like there's always room to grow and like room to revisit the basics and things like that. So they do the Cross Stitch University, but their Flosstube extras are also really fun. Like recently they did like a Mirabilia like whip and like plans kind of thing where they just all they talked about was like Mira's and Nora Corbett's. And they did one, I haven't watched this one yet. I'm saving it for when I like can pay attention because I really want to pay attention to this one. It's like the most expensive cross stitch patterns out there. And I think that's really cool. I love when people enter a kind of well-established space where it's kind of like this is the understood format and they shake it up a little bit. And that's how I feel about their channel. And the third one is another duo, which again, I'm sure everybody has heard of. These are the Floss Boss and Cousins, and they just recently celebrated 1 year on YouTube. And I love these two women. I probably have no overlap in stitching with them. Like we definitely don't stitch the same type of stuff, but I like watching channels that stitch stuff that I probably never will because I still get to see like a lot of these beautiful patterns that even though they're not my style, I still can appreciate them. I also just their voices, I really like. Maybe this is weird to say, but like I like when people have like, I don't know, nice voices to listen to because it's like a nice thing to put on in the background. And I love their accent. So it's like really fun to listen to them go back and forth, and like the way they kind of like pick on each other back and forth is really, really funny. They just seem like two really sweet ladies, and I love the duo dynamic. I wish I had somebody who would come film videos with me because this is lonely. It's kind of like lonesome to be like, I'm all alone, sitting in my room, talking to myself. So I really like the Floss Boss and Cousins. They're really fun. And those are my 3 recommendations for this week. I don't have any FFOs or FOs for these past 2 weeks. I do have a lot of progress on some other stuff though. I do have a couple finished objects actually, but they're like for other crafts, so I'll show you in that section. So let's hop into new starts. I have one new start to show you, and this is my sal with Britches Get Stitches. We are saling the Candy Fancy Lady from Whittier Stitches. Well, she charted it, and the art is by Erin Culpepper. This is a plus size fancy lady, and it's the first one I'd seen. I had somebody in a comment mention that there are a few others floating around out there, but not too many. And I think that Whittier Stitches might be charting up another one. This one, however, is free. This is my first ever fancy lady. If you asked me a year ago, I would have told you I'm never going to stitch a fancy lady. Like that's just not in my wheelhouse. It's not something I'm interested in. And this one broke me. This one was the one where I was like, okay, I really want to stitch this. And Britches Get Stitches commented and said, do you want to sell it? And so we kind of worked out the details. And so I will list the hashtags down below, but they are the Curvy Candy Sal and Unique is Beautiful. Now you can use both, you can use one or the other. We created two, well, I should say Britches Get Stitches created two, like she had the forethought to suggest to do two, just in case not everybody who is plus size is comfortable with the word curvy. So we wanted to give people a couple options, and I really like that. I thought that was really smart of her to do. I will have this as well as all the other patterns that I mentioned linked down below in chronological order, and I should have had, hopefully, editing me put a picture of what this will look like. And there are 3 different versions out there so far. There's a pink one, green, and blue. I think those are the 3 colors. And there's a few different skin tones as well. I'm doing it in green, and I'm doing it on Sapphire Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. Britches Get Stitches, she's way ahead of me. She's been blasting through this. I only got maybe 2 days on this because I've been working on a lot of other stuff as well, trying to get caught up. But this is fun. I don't know why. I don't really like 14 count Aida, but I love stitching on 28 count anything else. Like, it feels like it stitches up so fast. And I think it's just because I hate using the chunkier needle on Aida, but because the holes on like Lugana and Even Weave, or Lugana is Even Weave, Lugana and linen is much like, these are much smaller holes, so you can use like the tiny needle, which is what I like. So I've got kind of like the start of this belly band. You can see there's a really nice gradient of like yellows in there. And then I really just wanted to come down and start the green because I love the color green. This is not the called for fabric, but I feel like it's pretty close. But really, I just wanted, ever since I saw this fabric release, which I could be completely wrong, and 90% of the time I am completely wrong, but I feel like this was one that was released around the time that Liz Matthews released her Pumpkin House, because this, I believe, is half of it. It's the pattern that has like 2 different fabrics that you join together to create like the picture, which I think is really cool. But ever since I saw that fabric, I was like, I really want that. And I like sapphire. So yeah, this is the start of some skin, which doesn't look like much right now. I probably shouldn't have left this in the hoop, but I did. And then like I said, I got most of the belly bands done. I think there's some more that like trails down here. And then I kind of started outlining the dress, and the greens are stunning. I love the color green. This has 3 beads and some cryneck, and I don't really know what cryneck is. I just know that it's string that you buy, so I bought it. I don't know if this is hard to use. It feels a little textured. I'll probably use a thread conditioner with it. That seems like the best bet. And then there are 3 beads that you will need if you want to follow the pattern. There's like these cutie patootie yellow ones. And then there are 2 sizes of these white beads. I don't find that beads are really all that expensive. Like, each of these packs, I got them at 1 2 3 Stitch, and each of them were like $2 to $3. And there's plenty of beads in there, and I save all the beads that I get from like all my Mill Hill kits so that if I ever want to use them in a different project, you can substitute beads really easily. Like, the cross stitch cops are not going to come for you and be like, you used the wrong bead. Like, I don't think they will. So I feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck with the beads. I think my plan of attack with this is to probably go all the way down and then go back up. I don't know. I'm not a center starter typically, but I did with this just because if it's not like a bordered type of square pattern, it's a little bit easier to start from the center. But I typically like to start in the upper left and then like kind of like a book, you know? But yeah, so that's where I'm at so far. I think it's looking really good, and I'm planning on working on this, I think, a couple more days this month. I mean, it's the 26th, so there's not much left of this month, but I'll get at least one more day on this month, and then next month I'll be, you know, getting a little bit more on that. So that is the only new start I had, but I do have a fat stack of whips that I feel like gotten pretty good progress on. And the first one that I worked on was Only Judy Can Judge Me. And here is what it is supposed to look like. I'm pretty sure that I worked on this since the last time. I mean, it's on my list, but I can't remember where it was the last time, so I don't know how much progress I got. maybe it wasn't all that significant. Well, I did save a picture. It's on my computer somewhere. So here's where it was last time. And this is stitched on some random like ivory Aida that I found. It's 18 count, I believe. I just found it in my stash. I don't know what I had previously purchased it for, because if I buy Aida, it's white or black. It's never like any other color. I don't know why. That's just how it goes. I don't like this chart very much, just because the symbols are hand drawn, and so I couldn't really import it into anything that I have. I have markup and pattern keeper, so it's slow going because I'm doing it on paper. When I have a chart that fits on one page, I typically don't mind doing paper patterns. But when it has a lot going on with it, a lot of colors or blends or like weird stitches, I prefer to work digitally. And so this one has just been a little bit slower. But here is where it is, and I feel like you can start to see some of that shading detail coming through. This pattern uses a few blends, and this is my first time working with blends. It's not difficult. Like, I feel like I've heard people talk about blends being kind of complicated, and I thought they meant like doing them. Now what I'm starting to understand is it's managing that floss. Like, if you don't use up all of it, how do you, where do you put it? Do you just like toss the floss? Do you want to save it? I'm someone who likes to use up the floss, so I've been trying to just run out a blend set that I have so that I don't have to like store it on anything and remember what that blend was. But yeah, this is Judge Judy's face, and I want to get her done first, and then I'll go through and I'll add the text on there. My goal was to get this pattern about halfway done this month. Obviously not what happened. So next month I will probably kick this one into overdrive. I don't know. I kind of wanted to turn this into a little decorative pillow for like just to throw on my couch or something. But I don't know if Aida is like the best for that, because this is a slightly soft, but it's still, I mean, you can see it's fairly stiff. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm excited to get to work on this one a little bit more. It is a little bit boring for me to stitch because I'm not someone who enjoys stitching like a lot of like natural looking colors. I don't know if you can tell, I really like bright, fun, exciting colors. And so stitching like a bunch of shades of beige and brown is kind of like, okay, that's not very fun. However, what is fun is after you have like sat there and stitched for a couple hours and it's like you're like this close to it, like you're not really seeing the image for what it is, and then you finish stitching for a while and you set it down, you come back and you look at it like this and you're like, oh wait, I can see it coming together and I can see the shading really doing its job. So this is, I think you guys can see it a little better like that. Actually, it looks, now that I'm looking at it even more, it doesn't look like anything. So from back here, I feel like it looks a little bit more like Judge Judy, but then once you get it up close, it's kind of like nothing. So I need to finish out her face, at least, so she stops looking so scary. The next project I worked on was Love Bugs by Sprouting Lupine. Here is what it will look like. I'm doing this all called for, so I got the 32 count Sprite Lugana, and I'm using all the called for colors, which is just pinks, reds, and white. And some of it kind of like blends into the fabric a little bit, but in a very, I think, conscious design-oriented way. And this is a piece that I'm doing in commemoration of my engagement to my partner, Robert, who we've been together for a little over a decade now, and we finally got engaged in December, on December 30th. I told him, I was like, buddy, we better be engaged by the end of 2024 because I'm so sick of fielding questions from everybody. And he proposed to me on December 30th. He's so annoying. Here's where I was last time, and I want to get this done before we get married so that I can then do a wedding piece, because why not commemorate everything in my life with cross stitch? So I kind of picked this up and added a little bit more into it. This one's a little bit harder to show on camera because, like I said, it does kind of fade into that fabric choice a little bit. However, in real life, I do think it shows up pretty well. That white, for me, I can see the white pretty clearly. On camera, because of the ring light, you know, not so much. But I did come in and I finished the praying mantis. I think I added this white bit here. And then I came in and started filling in this spot. Down a little bit lower in the design, there's a spot on this side that has a year in it, and a spot on this side that has initials. I have recharted this in Stitch Fiddle, and I kind of like flipped it so that it worked for what I wanted to do. So where the year will go, I'm going to have my initials and his initials. It'll be like my initials plus his initials. And then where the original 3 initials went, I'm going to put the date. So it'll say like 12/30/23. I have until March 22nd to finish this one up. So for me, this works because, like, I love bugs. I'm a big bug freak. I collect like bug stuff. I have a dead bug collection. I don't kill bugs. I don't believe in killing bugs. I think that you gotta let bugs live their lives. I let them live rent-free in my apartment. And Rob has become very like attached to bugs too recently. And well, not recently, just in the course of our relationship. And so now he always tries to save them and make sure that like people don't kill them and, you know, things like that. So I thought the love bug sampler really worked for us. So I would like to get some more work into this, you know, to get it done in time. The next one is one that you will see in every video until it's done, because I work on this every week. This is Pavane for These Times by Long Dog Sampler. It is my only Long Dog sampler. This is my work lunch stitch. So I'm in office 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I get an hour for lunch. And so I always work on this when I'm in office. And so this gets like 3 hours a week on it. I don't really work on it outside of that because, I don't know, I got other stuff I want to work on. And I've been pretty consistently finishing about a page a month since I started doing this at the beginning of the year. This is the first month that I won't have gotten a full page. So here is where it was last time. I was working, I had finished pages 1, 2, and 3, and then I came over to do 4. And then instead of going across again, I decided to come all the way down. And so, because it's like one of the more dense pages, and I just was like, let me work on some of that dense stuff. So I'm not saving all the dense stitching for last and feeling like a little bit defeated that it's not going as fast. So let's see if I can fit this into the frame. I cannot. So let me scooch back a little bit. So here is where it is now. You can see I've been working down here. So I got these 2 big like Quaker style motifs done. This past week I've been doing these flowers here. They lead down into like a floral pot, and then this is the bottom of the piece. So it'll go across from there. There's like a few inches. Oh, my hair is just on it. My hair's on everything. There's like a few extra inches of material left. This is a 28 count Sage Lugana by Zweigart. I feel like it looks very gray on screen. It is gray, but it has like a very light tinge of green. These are kind of mirrored on the bottom, but different. And, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, there's a few extra inches of this. I just cut it off. I don't think there's really much I can do with it because it is 28 count. I guess I could do some over 1 stitching on, like some really itty bitty stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'll cut it off and save it, and it'll languish in my closet for 10 years. I chose this design. It's not really my typical style. I've said this before, but I really liked the quote on it, which it's like, what, turn your face to the sun and the shadows will fall behind you, I think. I've gotten, you know, the first little bit of the text there. After I finish this page, I will move back up and do this page and then come down and then back up. And then the final page will be this bottom corner. I'm just stitching this with 310. This was like the first monochromatic piece I've ever done. And I wanted to do a monochromatic piece in like a really fun, cool, variegated floss, whether it be cotton, silk, doesn't matter. I like the big space filled with variegation. It's really fun. But I didn't want to invest a bunch of money into a bunch of variegated floss, get partway through this and be like, wow, I hate doing this. So I wanted to see how much I liked it first. So I have a cone of 310 and I decided to just work off that. Now I know I love it. And so in the future, if I do, or when I do a more monochromatic piece, I will invest in that kind of a floss situation. The next project I worked on was Meditation Garden by Jan Hicks Creates. And this is what it's going to look like. I'm stitching it using the Miss Sadis silks, which I have right here. They give you enough, I think, because the pattern calls for like 2/1. Yeah, it looks like 2/1 on 14 count fabric. That's what the pattern like maps out like the floss usage for. I bought the floss pack. I've never bought a floss pack before, or the silks pack, I guess. And so I bought this from Miss Sadis. It's not cheap, buying these like pre-kitted things, and I decided to splurge because I want to enter this in the state fair. The Michigan State Fair is the weekend of my birthday, so I thought it'd be kind of fun. And by the way, here's where I was last time before I forget to add that in. So the reason I'm mentioning all that is this is counted for, I think, over 2 or 2/1. I don't know. 2 strands is what it's accounting for. I'm only stitching 1 strand over 2 because I'm stitching on 36 count. This is Fiber on a Whim's Stone Linen. The image, the what do you call it? The model stitch was stitched with these flosses, which is why I really wanted these, because I just felt like I didn't want to sub out DMC for these. They do have a DMC conversion for you if you want. But the model stitch is stitched on like some limited edition fabric, and I was like, why would you? Listen, I'm not here to tell designers what to do. Far from it from me to tell anybody how they should be living their life. But I just feel like if you're going to stitch a model stitch, it should be on like an accessible fabric. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So I had to figure out something else. And that's what I ended up going with. And yesterday, because my goal for this one is to stitch 1 page a month for 6 months. That way, by the end of June, I can go and get this framed, and that'll give me enough time to get it like submitted to the fair and all that. And so I left the needle in the back of this. So here is where I am. I finished yesterday. The last page. I've got it like unraveled a little bit so you guys can, see. But I finished the last of page 4. So that's over here. I've gone just a little bit with this border into the next page. This is kind of into the next page. So I'll have like a little bit of a start. My only regret with this fabric, because I think that everything else pops really, really well on this fabric. It's just this one floss color right here. And then like here's a couple birds, and then here's like a stone house. They don't pop in the same way that they should. I'm just going to call that like a stylistic choice and like not be too upset about it. But I really love the border. I've just got 2 more different border chunks to go. I am half a stitch off somewhere in the border. So the border came over like half a stitch. It will be so easy to like be like, it's fine, fudge it. But I'm kind of saving that for like the end. I worked on this for like 5 hours yesterday. I did so much yesterday. I did all 3 of these. I did all of this. I came and did all the border down here. I did all this here. And I filled in what I hadn't finished right here. So I was working. I have a slow work day. So I was like sitting here next to my computer and just really, I feel like I'm like peeking around like, hey guys, what's up? These frames are really inconvenient to like show stuff on. But yeah, so I'm really, really loving this. If you follow me on my Instagram, you already saw this progress, but I was a little bit behind last month. I hadn't finished the tree. So like this month I finished page 3 and page 4. So I'm glad that I got back on track. I don't want to fall behind again because I am really determined to enter it into the fair. I don't know why, because one, you have to pay to enter the fair, which is fine. Like, I'm not complaining, but it's like you have to pay to enter. I had to pay for all this. I had to pay in my time. And then, is there a prize? I don't even know. I just want a ribbon. Like, I just want to win. I could go buy a blue ribbon if I really wanted to, but it's like, I just want somebody to be like, Hillary, you did the best out of everybody. And I don't know why, because I'm not a competitive person. I never have been. I've never really been someone who like strives to win anything. The only person I really compete against is myself. I'm always trying to be better than I was the day before. But for some reason, I just want to win a prize at the fair. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to have so much of these silks left over. This one I haven't even used yet. This is the only color I haven't used yet. This one here has like 2 full skeins of it because, I don't know, I guess they assume you're going to use 2. I think I'm only going to go through the 1 because, again, I'm only using 1 strand. This is only used in 1 small motif, so... but yeah, I will be able to use these in plenty of future projects. Okay, I got 2 more projects. So the other thing that I worked on was a stitch along. This is by Sewing Starfish. Sewing Starfish did the Wizard Sal that I did, was it last year? Has it been that long already? That was my first stitch along and I loved it. And so I knew that I had to join this stitch along as well. This is the Slumber Party stitch along, and the next set of motifs actually released today. I haven't started them yet because I've been doing other stuff, like working. So here's where I was last time on this. The whole frame is out. I haven't finished it. I've decided this time to work on the frame as I go. So I really just put in the first time enough of the frame to get a point of reference to start the first 2 motifs, which I did in fact finish last week. So here are the first 2 motifs. The first one is an invitation to the slumber party itself. And then the second one is some bunny slippers. The bunny slippers have a very small amount of back stitch for the whiskers, but that's it. And then last night I did bring the frame as far over as it goes, and I will continue to fill that in. Probably tonight I'm going to work on the next 2 motifs, which were, one was a sleeve shirt. Oh, and the other was like a clock, a cute little clock. So I'm stitching this on 18 count black Ada. What is the dyer creator person? This one's by Zweigart. The last one I stitched on RTO, and I hated it because I felt like it was really shredding my floss. I feel like this one still shreds the floss a little bit, but not as bad as the RTO. So I don't know. I'm just gonna keep trying black Adas until I find something that works. But I really like this. This is very like heavy on the pinks and pastels and like lighter colors, which not usually my vibe, but I would die for Sewing Starfish. So I'm going to do this one. I think it's really cute. I have no plans for what I'm going to do with it when it's done. I don't know. There's just something really fun about doing these like piece by piece. I will say I really do like the first one a lot though, like because it had started with like the huge wizard motif in the center. But I'm excited to see like this one pan out. And I have this one in a bag that I made that, I mean, don't look too closely at the seams because I made this on my old sewing machine. So I have a lot of like birds nesting on here, but I put it in this cute little, like, I don't know, it's cute. I think it's cute. My very first sewing project on a sewing machine, I was like, yeah, I'll make vinyl front project bags. That can't be hard. I really don't think it was that hard. I feel like obviously I need to hone my sewing skills, but the process wasn't too bad. So to all those talented sewists out there who are intimidated by vinyl front bags, just know that my first foray into sewing was using vinyl, and I didn't find it too crazy, even though mine looked like shit. So, but yeah, I will start the second and third motifs today. Probably just a second. I don't know how fast I can get through those today because I gotta edit this. I still have to film a video for my other channel and edit that because that needs to go up tomorrow. I'm behind. And then my last whip for cross stitching is my year in stitches. Now I didn't show this last time because I hadn't worked on it last time. Like, I was literally a full month behind again. And then I was like, okay, just do 2 motifs a day and you will be fine. So if you don't know what this is I call it a year in stitches. It's a project I'm doing where I design or find a motif to use and stitch every single day as like a diary, basically, to represent something that happened in that day. And it's huge because it's going to have 366 days because this is a leap year. And I'm mostly caught up on the stitching. I think I've got like 2 days I need to put in or something like that. And this has been really fun. This is my first foray into like designing anything myself. And like, granted, these motifs are max size 20 by 20 stitches, but I feel like starting small has helped me a lot. So let me see if I can show you the full piece so far. So here's how it looks so far. I'm using gridded fabric for the first time ever. And this is, I think it's like a 32 count. And that's all I remember about it. But I will go through each motif with you, give you like a quick explanation of like what it's for, like what happened in that day that made me, you know, stitch that. And like whether it's self-drafted or if I got the pattern from somewhere, I'll tell you where I got it. So yeah, this is kind of like a weird little insight into my life. I don't know what the heck I will do with this when it's done. But it's fun to watch it come together. So I last left off on the traffic cone here. And so the day after that, this is the bridge that, you know, collapsed. It is a self-drafted pattern. This is a big deal. I mean, like, obviously it's a big deal in like world news, but in my particular industry, we use that port a ton. I'm in the automotive industry. So this had a massive effect on us. And so all day, like literally everybody's emailing us being like, oh my God, are we going to get our material? Oh my God, this or that. Oh my God, like, how are we going to get our cars out? And I'm like, people died. Like, people literally died. Who cares about your car? Like, I'm sorry. I'm the wrong person for business because I value people more than money. It's crazy, right? Most people in business don't, it seems. But yeah, that was the day the bridge collapsed. That was pretty wild. This is a chicken leg. I don't know if you can see, it's got like the bone in there. This is from the Cute Kawaii cross stitch. I hate the name of that so much. And I just modified it slightly because all of those patterns have faces on it. I went to Wingstop with my best friend Trevor. I hadn't seen him in a while. We work like up the road from each other. We used to work together twice. Then he quit and went to a different office. And so we met up at this new Wingstop. It was horrible. Wingstop is mid. I'm sorry. Yeah, I went and saw him. Next is a little camera. This is a Makoto Ozu pattern, and that's just because like I had like filmed for the first time in 2 weeks. I had really lapsed on my other channel, and I just was like feeling like seasonal funk, and I just hadn't filmed in a while. So I was like, you gotta get back to it. So I filmed. This is a like, I guess it's kind of like an iPhone. This is also a Makoto Ozu pattern. This is because Rob and I got into this huge, stupid fight. I can tell you, over the course of the 10 years that Rob and I have been together, I can remember 3 legitimate fights that we've had. Everything, like, we've had disagreements like any couple does, but like 3 blowout, like we are both mad and like raising our voices type of fight. This was one of them. All because he gets really keyed up because I don't answer my phone. Don't call me. Never call me. I will not answer my phone. First of all, I'm deaf. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm deaf to be funny. I am literally deaf. I wear hearing aids. I'm not wearing them right now, which is probably why I'm screaming. I'm deaf. I can't hear the freaking phone. He needed something from me. He called me in a panic. And I called him back literally 3 minutes later, but it was too late. And so like we got in a huge argument over what is the reasonable amount of time that you should call somebody back in. And it obviously is resolved. But it was just like this super silly thing. And, like, we laugh about it, but oh my God, like, if you need me in emergency, sorry, I'm not answering my phone. Like, I am not reliable in that way. You need to text me. Like, I don't, my phone's on silent all the time because I can't hear it anyways if the sound is on. So I just leave my phone, leave my phone on silent for everything because I'm like, I don't want to annoy other people with the sounds because I'm sure that's really annoying. Yeah, we've resolved that though, thank God, because that was that was so dumb. It was over a sandwich too. Like he went to Jimmy John's for me while I was working because he had the day off, and he was like frustrated because they said they didn't have the order, even though I placed the order. Whatever. The next one is a little thing of movie popcorn. That one was, I'm looking at my notes, it's self-drafted. Wow, Hillary, you're so talented. Look at that. That looks just like movie popcorn. We went and saw a movie literally only because I wanted movie popcorn and Rob wanted a Slurpee. Like, I love movie popcorn so much. Rob loves getting Slurpees at the movie theater. We went and saw, I don't even remember. It was like that movie about like the haunted teddy bear or whatever the heck it was. It was bad, but I got my movie popcorn. I literally ate it like in the previews, and I was like, okay, we could go home. Like, I don't care about this movie. We'll come down here. This is a rabbit. This is a little Makoto Ozu pattern. It was just Easter. This is a self-drafted. It's like a little stock up arrow because it's the April 1st is the start of the year. Like in Japan. I work for a Japanese company. My major was Japanese language and culture, so like pretty much everything I have to do in my like work life has always related back to Japan in some way. And in Japan, the beginning of the school year, the beginning of the fiscal year, they start on April 1st, kind of to symbolize like a new beginning, because it's like, you know, the beginning of spring and cherry blossoms and things like that. So April 1st is when we get like our raises and stuff at work. I got a raise. It's a pretty good raise. Now I almost make the average of what my job should be paying me. The next day, can you guys tell what that is? Rob knew right away. That's a Baby Bell cheese because pretty much the only thing that really happened that day was I ate a bunch of Baby Bell cheeses. I like eating those cheeses. I like to open them. That's really the main draw. And I did draft that pattern myself. Next, we have a little Ouija planchette. I believe that one is also self-drafted. That was a day that I had a SAF. I start and a finish of the nostalgic Ouija planchette from the Witchy Stitcher. That's pretty much all I did for most of my day. So that is why I got a motif. This is a little flame here. I got that from some like pixel art that I just adapted. That is because, so I bought these like bulldog noodle bowls from Costco for Rob because he loves spicy food. He hasn't really been eating any of them. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to eat one because I'm hungry. I forgot, like bulldog is really spicy. I like Shin Ramen a lot. Bulldog, it's just spicy for no reason. Like it's not spicy to be flavorful. It's just like spicy for no reason. So I regretted that. This is a self-drafted, that's just like a Wi-Fi signal. And that's because our Wi-Fi was out for like most of the day and I work from home. So I need Wi-Fi at home. And I was like, I'm not about to go in the office. So I just literally use the hotspot on my phone all day. This is a self-drafted pattern. This is, I don't know if you guys can tell, this is like I don't know what I'm doing. This is like a stick shift thing. I don't know what you call that, like the pattern of the stick shift. This little one right down here, that's supposed to be R for reverse. I feel like you can tell all the numbers, but you can't tell that that's an R. So Rob has a stick shift vehicle and I don't know how to drive stick shift. He learned how to drive from a stick shift. I think in Korea, like it's still mostly stick shift, but I could be totally wrong. But yeah, so he knows how to drive a stick shift, obviously because his car's stick. And I was like, hey, I think you should probably teach me how to drive your car because sometimes he takes my car to go run errands and then I go outside and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to leave? So I need to learn how to drive stick shift. So we had like a little stick shift lesson. I got it to second gear okay. I just drove in the parking lot mostly. We're going to do it again soon, but it's hard in my brain to like, it's like, I feel the same way as like when I tried to learn how to play piano and I couldn't do different stuff with each hand. I feel like the same way about like, I can't do different stuff with both feet. Like they have to be doing the same thing. Sorry, there's so many of these, but If you don't like it, I guess you can skip this part. The next one is, it's a wedding dress, and I don't know if you can tell, but I used a toile, and that's because I went wedding dress shopping with my mom and my sister. I went to this place in like the Detroit metro area called Bombshell Bridal. Highly, highly recommend it if you are a plus size bride. They do have like straight sizes, I think, or like they can order straight sizes, but it is a plus size boutique. And it was really important to me that I got to go wedding dress shopping at a place where I could actually try on the dresses, because I went wedding dress shopping with a friend who was plus size, and they had about like 3 dresses in the whole store that would actually fit on her body. And then the rest of them, they just kind of pinned to the front of her naked body, and they were like, okay, try to imagine what it'll look like on you. And that is not what I wanted for my experience, you know? And so I just Googled plus size bridal shop Michigan, and that one says it's the biggest one. I don't know if it's the biggest one in the state or what, but like they had so many dresses. I got to try on so many dresses that fit my body. I tried on dresses that were too big for my body. So I was like, wow, like very inclusive sizing. I found a dress in 45 minutes, bought it off the rack. I bought a dress off the rack for my wedding. The only modification I have to do is I have to let out and like pull in some of the area around the arms. That's it. So I got my wedding dress. It was very easy. Obviously a little bit more expensive because they are a specialized boutique. But my parents bought my dress for me, so it was very kind of them. The next day, that I think it was like a Monday, I was in the office, and that was for the lunar eclipse. That was self-drafted. I live in the Detroit metro area of Michigan, and so we got like 90-something% coverage. So like there was still just like a sliver, but it was really cool. And we all went outside together and shared lunar eclipse glasses, and I definitely looked directly into it, as is my civic duty, for just a split second, just because, you know, I feel like you have to, right? You're not going to get this opportunity to look directly into eclipse again. Like, why wouldn't I look directly into it? But yeah, that was cool. I was glad, because I couldn't find glasses anywhere. Like, I saw them everywhere, didn't think anything of it. And then like a week before the eclipse, I went to go buy some, and they were just gone. So it was so nice that all my coworkers shared theirs with me. The next one, this is a pair of headphones. This is a Makoto Ozu pattern, which, by the way, I feel like I probably should have said this at the beginning, but if you don't know who Makoto Ozu is, or Ozu Makoto, if you want to say it the other way, I don't know. He is the author of these books. When I was living in Japan, I bought these 2. These are like these mega mini like cross-stitch motif books. And then I found out he released one to like the American audience as well. So I bought that too. So I have 3 of his books, and I use these for a lot of these motifs. And this is one of them, those headphones. That is because Robert dropped one of his earbuds in the toilet, and I was like, please, for the love of God, do not stick that back in your ear. And so that day I went online and I bought him some new earbuds, because he's had his forever and they've been dying forever. And I was like, you need new ones. And he was like, why would you spend that much on me? And I was like, because I love you, you dumb. Like, I don't know. But I got him new headphones. He loves them. And so we're not using the toilet headphones, thank God. This is like the moon and star motif. This one I just drafted up myself. This is because this was towards the end of Ramadan. One of my coworkers is Muslim, and she brought in a ton of like these delicious treats to like end Ramadan and share that culture with like my office. So like I'm the only American in my office. Everyone else is mostly from Japan. I have a coworker from China. I have a coworker who's like Russian. And then I have a coworker from Lebanon. And she's the one who brought in all of those treats, and she shared them with us, and they're so good. Like, I could have just stood there and ate them all day. So that was like kind of to commemorate that. The next day I was working from home, and I got myself some Jimmy John's, and that is quite literally the only exciting thing that happened that day. And that's self-drafted. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I drafted up that Jimmy John's logo right there. I promise I will not go this long between updating you guys on this one ever again. The next one is a YouTube logo, self-drafted. I got a bunch of like rude ass comments on my other YouTube. Not this YouTube, my nail polish YouTube. I'm like a mini micro baby influencer in like nail polish. And I don't know, sometimes people just can be real rude. And I don't really care about rude comments. Like I know a lot of people tend to get a little like discouraged and keyed up about like rude comments. To me, I just look at it, I go, that's free engagement. But I don't know why. Like I got a bunch that day and I was like, what is going on, guys? Chill out. This is a Stanley cup, and you guys can't even tell how neon this is. This is that neon light effect DMC floss, which I've been dying to use. Rob and I went out. He made me leave the house because I was having a real rough go of it. And I was like, can we go to Dick's Sporting Goods? I want a Stanley cup, which I have avoided this trend for so long. And then I was like, I want a Stanley cup. So we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and from like across the freaking room, I saw this. It's a perfect match. And then I bought this little cowboy hat for this straw. How perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I never wanted one of these. I'm not a big cup person. Like, I'm not like the type of person who wants to have like 10,000 cups. Like, I'm not like a cup collector. But I saw, because Facebook keeps recommending me this Stanley Cup group that I don't know why. And I saw this really cool retro looking one. I was like, oh, I really like that. So I was like, maybe we can go see if they have it in. And then I saw this one and I was like, wait, I want that one instead. And obviously that's self-drafted. Oh, the black on the bottom too. That's because I bought this rubber boot thing for it. Because we have glass end tables in our living room. And I didn't want to like slam this down on the glass because I'm aggressive. Next, this is self-drafted. It's just like a little golf flag because I finished the golf club covers for my dad that I've been knitting. You'll see those in the other craft section if you decide to stick around. This one is also self-drafted. That's a blood vial because I went for my yearly checkup and they went to try and take blood from me, and for some reason they couldn't do it and I almost passed out, and that never happens to me. And the nurse who came in to like try to help me out, she was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, what? Like, I'm like laying on the table, like trying to breathe because I'm like about to pass out. And the first thing she does is complain because I've got holes in my ears. And then she starts telling me about how her adult daughter never speaks to her. And I'm like, Jesus, I wonder why. Like, you're such a very rude lady. But yeah, so there's that. This is self-drafted. It's supposed to be a Polaroid photo. I hope you guys can tell that. I can tell, but it came from my brain. So, you know, that's just because we booked our photographer officially, like paid the down payment. And because I already used a camera up over here, I didn't want to use a camera again. So I just did a Polaroid, even though obviously she's not going to do Polaroid pictures. This is a mad face. That one is self-drafted because I had a horrible day at work, and it's because of one of my coworkers, and I don't like him. Which sucks because he's my boyfriend, he's my fiance, his best friend. I got him the job there, and he is bad at it. And he's very disrespectful to me, so he was making me mad that day. And then the next day, let's come down here. This is a little bitty bird from Makoto Ozu. There was just like, I don't know, I sat for like 10 minutes and just watched this bird wander around my little porch. And I don't know, I love birds. They're cute. This is just a hat. This is a Makoto Ozu pattern. And this is because Rob bought my dad, his birthday's coming up, my dad's birthday. And Rob wanted to get my dad this hat, which is like the most unhinged hat I've ever seen. It says, "Women fear me, fish fear me, men turn their eyes away from me as I walk. No beasts dare make a sound in my presence. I am alone on this barren earth." So yeah, that's the hat Rob got my dad. And it's like very tall. So it's more like a joke, but my dad's a big fishing guy. Oh my God, we're almost done. Okay. The next one, this is the top of R2-D2's head. This is like a pixel art that I found. I am 31 years old and I finally am watching Star Wars. I've finally been worn down. So I'm watching that. It's okay. I only care about Yoda and the droids so far. And then this is a book. This is a Makoto Ozu pattern. Rob and I just went to Barnes & Noble and wandered around. It was really fun. We like to do that sometimes. This is a bell that is self-drafted. I made that myself. That's because at work, our doorbell fell off the outside wall and landed like in front of our door and like blocked us in, so we couldn't open the door. So we had to like all leave out the garage. Our doorbell obviously doesn't look like that, but I don't know how to like draft the doorbell that you would be able to see. And then the last one I stitched is this little bomb, and I used metallic thread for like the fuse lighting. This is because somebody at my job decided to destroy a bunch of parts that are mine, and I needed to ship them out, but they destroyed them all, and now I can't get more for 4 months, and my shipment is due next month. And so I don't know what I was like, bro, why did you do this? And he's like, well, it's taking up space. So they paid to have them destroyed. Now we have to pay triple what we paid for them before to replace them. So tell me how that makes sense. I don't know, but he was like, do you have a plan? I was like, my plan was to send that out. Now I have no plan, but yeah. That is my year in stitches. I just have a few days left. I have 2 that I haven't stitched for the month and then 1 for today. So like 3 motifs behind, but that's like totally normal. So those were my whips. So let's just hop into other crafts really quick. The only other crafts I have to show you were some knitting projects. So I was working on these golf club covers for my dad. For his birthday. I had made him some many years ago when I was in college, and he loved them. And I guess my dad's always been real hype for like us being his children, like making him stuff. And I didn't expect him to love them that much, but like he wore them out. Like there's holes in them. There's like sun damaged from just being used so much. So he requested that I make him some new ones. And he wants to put the old ones in a shadow box, which is so precious to me. I asked him, I was like, you know, what colors, what style, what do you want? And he was like, just surprise me. So the first ones I made were black and red to match his golf bag. This time I decided to use, this is like the Lions brand. I think it's like Wool Ease. And it's like a really pretty green along with like this heather kind of white. And these are my school colors for my college, but also I just felt like they looked like real old school together. So I thought that would be nice because he does collect some like old school golf memorabilia. And I asked him, I was like, which ones do you want? Like, I'll make 135. Do you want any others? Because I have enough. And he said, no, 135 is enough. He has a weird putter, so I can't make him like a putter cover for it. I asked him. But his birthday is the day before Mother's Day this year, so I will be giving him those. And these were really easy. I knit them, like they take maybe like a day or 2 for each one. I just used some DPNs. I don't actually know how to like discuss the details of knitting. So like it's not that I don't know how, I don't watch like a bunch of like knitting channels. So like if there's certain details you guys want from me about some of these projects, feel free to let me know down in the comments and I will start talking about that. I do have a Ravelry. I'm not like a great photographer, so like the pictures are not going to be the best, but I will link that down below as well. And I'll share the pattern down below for that. That was like a free pattern, so I saved it, but I can't remember where I found it. And then the other finish I had, I knit up these weekend shorty socks. And this is like it's like some Halloween yarn I got from hobby.com. I will put that down below. I blocked them. They're on sock blockers. And actually, weirdly, so this is self-striping yarn. I didn't mean for this to happen, but they almost totally match up. Like, I almost got the stripes to be pretty identical, which, like I said, wasn't intentional, but there's like a big gaping hole in this one. I don't know. I messed that one up, but that's fine because these are for me and my gigantic feet. Like, look at how big my foot is. So this particular sock is actually not really designed to be like one solid yarn. It's supposed to have like a bunch of contrasting kind of like, you have like a contrasting cuff, like 2 different colors here, 2 colors here, 2 colors here. I really like this length of sock. This is just like the length of sock that I wear. So I just decided to use this yarn that I had and just do one big piece. But I actually did start another pair of the same socks, and I finished the cuff this morning, but this time I actually am going to do the contrasting kind of colors. I don't have enough colors to do it like the way they did, so I'm gonna pattern my colors a little bit differently. But I have this orange and this green, and then I have the pink and the yellow, so I'm gonna incorporate those. And then the main color of my sock is just gonna be like this white, and these are like the, oh gosh, what is it? It's like the Silly Socks yarn from Hobby. I really like this yarn. I think it is easy to work with. They have a lot of really fun colorways. I have a couple other cakes of this same like brand, just different like lines that I'm going to use for other socks, so that'll be fun. One thing I will say about this yarn is when I got them wet to block them, they did run like a lot of pink dye. I haven't really used, like, this is my first foray into more complicated knitting. Even though I've been knitting since I was 11, I really haven't knitted many wearables outside of like scarves and hats, and I've always used like crappy acrylic yarn. They look so cute. Look at that. So I don't know much about like yarn quality and all that, so I'm still learning. But hopefully they don't ruin anything in the wash when I wash them, because I think it's super wash. I have to check. I saved the label. Next, I have like Haul and Stitchy Kindness, and I want to start out with Stitchy Kindness because actually Britches Get Stitches made me a project bag for Candy. Look at that. It's in there right now, and she made the inside of mine green because I'm doing the green dress, and then she made a matching bag for herself, and look, she's got her own little label here. I believe she makes project bags like for sale, so definitely check that out. This is such a nice bag. I've never had like a bag this style because I've never actually bought a project bag. All the project bags I have I made myself just because I was like, I can do that. But this is such a nice bag. It feels really plush. It's like a good size too to fit like a lot of stuff in here. So I really love it. Thank you so much. I mean, I messaged her of course and said thank you, but like, look at how cute. I love novelty fabric, which you're about to see in the haul portion. For haul, like things I actually bought, I did pick up a couple of patterns off of Etsy. There's a shop that's new to Etsy called Arcady of Sorrows, and for the first week she was having like a coupon sale or whatever, and I mean her patterns are not that expensive anyways, but I was like, well, I really like these. So I got this one called Got That Dog in Me, and it's a corn dog. I want to stitch this for my sister because I don't know, like I have this like memory of her just loving corn dogs when we were kids. And then I also picked up this one that's called Swamp Slut, and it's like Shrek font, and it says slut, and then it just has like smiley face, heart, rainbow motifs, and the framing of it on the Etsy, it like has like this like lace going around it is really funny. But she has like a lot of like really goofy patterns like that, so I would recommend her shop. I will link that down below. I also bought 2 sewing patterns. I bought this one for like mini frogs. I want to make these. These look so cute. And then I also bought this quilting pattern for, it's like the Madeline quilt. The first time I saw this was on Elizabeth Ann Can Stitches channel, and it looked like an easy quilt to whip up. So I figured I would pick that up. I also bought a ton of fabric. So I used to only buy fabric for like cross-stitch finishing purposes. Now I'm getting into sewing and quilting, so I've kind of got a mix of stuff. So I got some jelly rolls. These 2 are for a quilt that I'm going to make for my grandma. This is the Riley Blake Designs Springs in Town. I'll pop like the palette up here so you guys can kind of see. And then I just got some plain Kona white so that I can use these together. And then I got this one on sale. This is a Ruby Star Society sketchbook, and I don't have any distinct plans for this one yet, but this one is a Riley Blake Pride and Prejudice theme, and this one I'm going to use for that Madeline quilt. I also got this really good deal on a fat quarter bundle. It's just got some really like nice muted kind of geometric type stuff. I can't remember the name of this one, but this will either be used towards a quilt or I could use it for finishing stuff. I still haven't decided. I found this fabric printer, I guess, called Spoonflower. Their fabrics are very expensive, like too expensive, I would say, but I found a couple that I wanted, so I got a yard of each. This one is like an alien abduction type fabric. And then this one is from a brand, like their print's called Calamity Wear, which it's supposed to look like that old China pattern, that Blue Willow China pattern, but they incorporate like monsters and mayhem in there. I don't remember where I got these, but I got literally like 6 yards of this fabric that's got like bugs all over it because, like I said, I love bugs. And I found these quilt block patterns that are like, it's like some kind of paper, foundation paper piecing, and they're like these beetles. And so I thought it'd be fun to make a quilt top with that and then use these for backing. That's like a way in the future project, but I bought that because it was on sale. And then I bought 2 yards of this fabric because I thought it was fun. From Fat Quarter Shop, I got, there's like this blue kind of like shibori kind of style fabric that I was really interested in. I got 3 yards of this because there's a specific 3-yard quilt I want to make. I'm making quilts for everybody in my family for Christmas, and we'll see how that pans out. I've got two quilt tops done so far. I got my mom, dad, brother, sister, and then their significant other. So that's 6 quilts I need to make. And they're 3-yard quilts, so they're fairly small. They're like lap quilts. So I got that to make my brother's. And then the last bit of haul I got was from Stitching Lane. This came really quick. I got an email that they were having like a half off sale. And they didn't have much cross stitch stuff that I wanted, but I did find some fabric. So this is like a fat quarter bundle. These are Teresa Kogut, aren't they? We got like these pumpkins, like a neutral. There's some like crow raven guys, and then 2 more copies of that, like more neutral. I think these would be fun either to use for finishing cross stitches or making some kind of project bag. And then they had, so they're like 50% off coupon code worked on stuff that was already discounted. So they had these fat quarter bundles. I think that they were like discounted to $20, and then I used the discount code on top of that. So this one is like speckled, and you can see there's like all these different colors that are in that same kind of pattern. So I got that one, and then this one is like more like grungy modeled, and it's the same kind of concept where it's like a bunch of different colors. So I thought these would be great for like, you know, something to have. So I bought that too. Couldn't really pass it up. It was such a like cheap way to build up some fabric stash. So that's all the haul. As far as plans go, I really want to work on candy some more. And like I said, I want to get more work into that Judge Judy and really focus on making sure that I finish page 5 of Meditation Garden. I don't want to get behind on that because that one, out of all my projects, nothing really has a deadline except for that if I want to get it finished in time for the state fair. So those are like the 3 things I really want to focus on in May. Aside from that, I don't really have anything too hard and fast, just kind of keep stitching on whatever I feel like stitching on in the moment. So this video is already like way too long, I can tell. So I'm just gonna be done. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I hope that it wasn't too long for you. And I hope you guys, whatever you're doing today, I hope you have a great day. I will see you guys later. And that's it, man. I did not really end that very well. I'll see you guys later. Bye.